Let's talk about the very special math object in JavaScript. So using math object, we can use its static properties and the methods to have various operation, a mathematical operation. It could be some constant regarding pi, or maybe calculating the minimum, maximum, or maybe performing some rounding off on a number to remove the fractional part, to have the decimal part only, and many more. Let's see with few of the examples. So here, firstly, we'll try to see the constants available with math object, the static constants. So if I say console math dot, so very first thing, for example, we have a look at very popular pi. So let's see the value of pi available with math object. So this is the value of pi available with math object. So it's one of the property as a constant available. And you might be wondering that this is mentioned in capital because the general naming convention in JavaScript to have all the constants in capital letters. Along with this, there are others as well. For example, if I want to have a log natural logarithm of 10, so for that also one constant is available, and let's see the value out of it. So this is the value for that. In the similar fashion, there are many more available. Let me just add a few of those. For example, then there is something called square root of 2 is available as a constant directly. Square root of 1 by 2, it means 0.5. Then logarithm of 2 is also available. Let's see the values. So these are just constants available. So I'm not sure why exactly it is being given of square root 2 on the square root of 1 by 2. Maybe it is commonly used in many mathematical operation. That's the reason maybe it is added as a default property. Otherwise, we could have it calculated manually. Otherwise, you will be wondering why there is not square root of, for example, 4 or 16 or many more. Maybe this is mostly used in mathematical terminology, so they have given as a default one. Apart from this, there are more also that you can have a look at the official documentation, but these are the commonly used when you're creating any mathematical related application. Let's try to have a look at the static methods available inside math object. One more special thing you should able to understand here. Generally, we create an object by using say math, any object, not the math one, in this format. But we are not doing that because we don't want to create a new math object. Math is an already inbuilt object on a namespace level in JavaScript. We just want to use its static methods. And that's the reason you can see directly we are saying object.pi, object.ln10. So it is similar to the static concept in Java or maybe the C++. Okay, let's have a look at the methods. So here there is one method available called, let me just correct it. Okay, and sign. So what exactly it does, returns the sign of x indicating whether x is positive, negative or the zero. So if you pass any particular number, it will tell us it's a negative number or it's a positive number. Let's say I'm giving this -19 here. Let's see what's an output for this. I'll just comment out the above part to make it much simple. So I'm getting -1. That's perfect. Let's try to give the +19 and see, we are getting +1. That's perfect. And let's do the same to give the number 0. 0. So this particular sign method always return only 3 outcome: the -1, +1 and the 0. So it is used to identify the given number is a negative number or a positive number or maybe the 0. It might be needed many times when you're performing some calculation or maybe you are using some algorithm. Let's try to understand the next one. In the next, we are having a power off. So power off, let's say 2 to the power 3. Let's see what's an outcome. 8. Correct. Let's try 2 to the power 4. It should be 16. Yes. So it accepts two parameter. One is 2 and second is 4. So it's 2 to the power 4 over here. Let's try to understand the next one, that is math dot square root. So it is calculating the square root here. Let's say for 16, we'll try to calculate. So it should be number 4. Yes. Let's try with 25. It should be 5. Yes. Perfect. Let's try to understand few of the most important use in mathematical or maybe any banking calculation to perform a round figure operation. Math dot round. So I need 1.9. So when I'm saying I want to make a round off figure of 1.9, so 1.9 is nearest available to the number 2. And let's see the output will be number 2 over here. And let me just comment out all the previous part to make it much simpler. That's perfect. And if I make it 1.49, it will be 1 only, because as soon as it reaches 1.5, it will consider 2. 1.50 maybe, it will immediately consider it as a 2 because it is doing a round of operation. So you might be wondering, sometime there could be a requirement, even if it is 1.4, it should go up to 2, or maybe even if it is 1.9, it should come only up to 1 only, not it should become 2. So there are specific method available for that. For example, the cell or the floor for that. Let's try. So here, for example, I'll say the floor. So here 1.9 round figure will be, of course, it will be 2, but we don't want to go the upward direction. We want to come to the backward direction. We want to see which is the integer number below this 1.9, nearest below 1, not the upper one, because the upper one will be, of course, number 2. In this case, you should get 1. Even though it is 1.999, it will be number 1 only. And here, even though you make it 1.111, it will be 1 only, because it is trying to figure out the integer number which is just below than this number. Even if we are at 999, it doesn't matter. Let's try the same scenario with cell operation. So with cell, what is the number we are passing? It's trying to figure out the nearest integer number which is available in the upward direction. So if it is 1.9, of course it will be 2, the nearest upward integer number. But if we try with, for example, 1.111, so in this case also the nearest integer number available in the upward direction is number 2, and that's what the meaning of cell. Okay, now we have seen how we can do the round, or maybe we can come down with the floor, or maybe we can go up to the next integer number by using the cell. But what happens if we sometime don't want this particular fractional number? We just need our integer number. So there is also one special method available for that, and that is truncate. So with truncate, what we can do, if it is 1.9, for example, I don't bother about what is a fractional number. I just bother about my integer value. There is no round figure and everything is needed. So we should get an outcome 1 here. And even though if I make it 1.11, it doesn't matter. It will directly give an integer number out of it. Apart from this, the math object also have some static method to perform the minimum or the maximum, or maybe any logarithmic operation, sine, cos, and many more. Let's try to figure out based upon the minimum and the max, which is the most commonly used. So if I'm having an array, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to just calculate which is the minimum or which is the maximum out of it. So what I can say log math dot max of this array. So it accepts an array as an input, and from that it is trying to give us the maximum available number. So let's see which is the maximum available number. So it's showing NaN. What could be the reason for that? Because we are passing an array, but here it needs the values comma separated. Otherwise, we need to use maybe the spread operator. So spread operator will be more better, I guess here. Let's see. That's perfect. So this is number 5 is the biggest one. Why we were getting the error previously? Because we were passing a array directly And here it was accepting in this way. Now you'll see the output will remain exact same. So to convert an array into a comma separated list, we have to say a spread operator. Let's try with the same for the minimum one. We should get the number one. Now there is a question, if this is an empty array, what will happen? Let's try. So we are getting infinities because there are no values available. So this is how the min max help us to create some real-time scenario, which will be helpful to reduce the manual operations or the manual code that you write to have some certain operation. That could be maybe the rounding off, maybe the floor, cell, or calculating the mean max, or having the square root, power off. And apart from this, also the math object has many more options. For example, if you just want a log 10, log n, and you can specify the number for which particular number you need the log 10 or the log 2 or the specific more mathematical operation. So this is how the math object helps us to perform the calculations in JavaScript.